Why do you think storytelling is important to Irish history?
It depends on the periods and what parts of Irish history. A lot of it is because of the difference between oral history and recorded history as well. So if you were to look at the 19th century, for example, which is not very long away, really, it's only four generations back, you're really 150 years ago. Most of the population in the west of the country was Irish speaking but didn't read and write Irish, and so they didn't leave any written stories about this, about their experiences and about their life, their culture, even things more mundane like the politics or the economics or anything like that at the time. So the oral culture is extremely important when that comes through stories.
Ireland has the largest body of collected folk tales and stories in the west of Europe, which just shows how prevalent storytelling has been in Irish history and how treasured these stories are today.
People tell stories because of the entertainment value of them as well. And lots of stories, some stories are big old stories of old traditional tales, and some are very local, and some of them are very funny as well. If you consider as well that really you have to wait till the middle of the 20th century before lots of the rural areas got electricity, changed people's lives enormously. And before then, it was not possible to be watching the television or listening to the radio or these things too. So people would visit a lot. People would visit from house to house, particularly in the winter times. Be working when the daylight's there. If there's not so much daylight, you can't do very much work as well. And so it brought communities together in lots of ways. And one of the ways is, of course, if you're really good at telling a story, a lot of people would like to come and visit you, and you'd like to go and talk to other people about your experiences, things you've heard, older stories, ones you make up, and these two.
The main venues for storytelling allow us to see the main purpose of storytelling was for entertainment and to prevent boredom. Some of these venues included fireside, either inside or outside, at wake houses, at the workplace of traveling seasonal laborers, and at sea on fishing boats. As you can see, stories kept people's work lives exciting and more enjoyable. Thankfully, the Irish Folklore Collection has collected a large number of stories from all parts of Ireland which can be accessed and shared with the general population. With these stories, we are able to explore the common culture of Ireland in the past and compare it to the present day.
Stories, yeah. When we were being brought up, we were brought up often with the old stories rather than a lot of the kind of big international tales you get now from storybooks, which are often based on, I don't know, based I suppose what's in Grimm's fairy tales and various versions of those too. And lots of the books that you get now for children are fairly international. Even the ones in Irish are often translations of ones which are available in wide markets across the world as well. But when we were small, being brought up, now we had stories of various Fenian heroes and lots of local stories as well.
The Grimm brothers are widely known around the world for their work in fairy tales. Many people have come to know their tales as the darker versions of classical stories. The Grimm brothers' work in recording stories has contributed greatly to Irish folklore by preserving classical tales. One of the most popular classical tales around the world is Cinderella. The story of Cinderella has been told and retold for centuries, so of course some details have changed throughout time. In Disney's version, the stepsisters try to squeeze their feet into the delicate glass slipper. However, in the Grimm brothers' version, the mother tells the eldest daughter to cut the toe off. When you're a queen, you will have no more need to go on foot. Similarly, she tells the youngest, cut a bit off your heel. When you're a queen, you will have no more need to go on foot. The girls both did as told, but the shoes still would not fit. This story has clearly adapted throughout the years. In fact, the shoes were not always glass. In the Grimm brothers' version, the slippers were made of gold. We approached the video project topic, Irish storytelling, in more of a research kind of manner to begin with. We did a lot of individual research, and then we ended up getting an interview with Dr. Ty. Yeah. I'm not going to attempt to butcher the last name. So it was really nice, though, to get that interview in there because it kind of just restated everything that we had already researched and learned on our own.
And for the rest of the video, we both contributed our own photos and a little bit of our own videos from both stuff we had taken at school and on our trips throughout Ireland. We wanted to make it a little bit more original and a little bit more personal to us. We both contributed a decent amount of research, and we were both present at the interview to ask as many questions as we were able to.
We found that it was kind of challenging to get an interview to begin with because no one would respond to our emails for probably about a week roughly. So that was kind of frustrating, but we finally got one, so it worked out. It was also a little bit challenging to necessarily narrow down like what we wanted to talk about because the topic is so broad. But again, we ended up figuring it all out. And overall, the project was pretty useful in learning more about Irish storytelling in a hands-on manner.
Yeah, I think we both benefited from the interview the most over the research. The research was a little bit difficult to narrow down exactly what we wanted to do, and it involved a lot of time skimming through journals and articles and books to find relevant information. So we both really enjoyed the interview because it was more like hands-on approach, and it was a little bit more personal, so we were able to kind of know what we wanted to know rather than looking for what we were looking for.